Oh my. Oh my.
Yeah, you can hear the fear in this young lady's voice. This insane video showing waves of muddy water gushing past a home on Thursday after major rain and flooding swept through Southern California. And you can hear her reaction, watching in terror as that mud flow just takes over the area of Oak Glen. Now, this, of course, largely due to the moisture from the remnants of what was Tropical Storm Mario. And unfortunately, these storms turned deadly. It was a 2-year-old boy that was found dead after being swept away by floodwaters in the vehicle that you're looking at in this picture. That's in Barstow. His father was rescued and immediately taken to a nearby hospital, where thankfully the father was later released. But Haley, it just goes to show even that, and not just monsoonal rain, but remnant rain from a tropical storm can be deadly.
Exactly, Michael. And that's why we look so closely at the storms that are ongoing in the Eastern Pacific to see not just where the storm will make landfall, but where that moisture is going to get carried. It can make a big difference for spots across Southern California where they don't see a lot of rain, especially this time of year. It wasn't just the one mudslide. Several more were reported in San Bernardino County, and numerous roads have been washed away or shut down completely. While the rain is beneficial for SoCal, I mean, they are in a significant drought. It did bring on a whole mess of problems to this part of the state Thursday and into Friday. So we are going to recap and then talk about some extra rain that could resurface for portions of the Southwest as we start this upcoming work week. Let's talk about San Diego here for a second. They've had nearly 3 Septembers worth of rain in just that 2-day time period. Now, granted, it's less than a half an inch, but it can create some significant impacts for some of these locations. And notice the average rainfall for September is a little over 1/10 of an inch. And you can see kind of the end result here. 44 reports so far. This is just looking over the past 3 days. So we're kind of pushing that window a little bit where we can have some of these storm reports. But 44 reports of flooding not only going into California, but extending into portions of Arizona near the Phoenix area, out towards Tucson, and then even near Las Vegas, Nevada. They had a significant amount of rain from this as well. Top of
All right, real quick, I want to talk about what we're seeing in California, New Mexico. Right, you have a bunch of standing water, which is the ocean, right? And that ocean, it soaks into the ground. We all know when you water plants, what happens? The water disappears. Where does it go? Well, it continues to moisturize and penetrate the ground, making it mooey, gooey, mushy, liquefied. Okay? Now, there's been a whole bunch of activity and everything lately out here in California, right? But you see this line here where you can see land and then you see ocean. But the truth is, the earth is a crust. It's so far down. You know, this water is penetrating. It's soaking. Dry land will actually suck water to it. Right? Water travels the least expected way. So we have a state here that's against the ocean, which that water is constantly just sitting there, absorbing into the ground. So I know you see a coastline here, but in reality, underneath ground, it might be nothing but mush and water, mud, water, because this ocean is sucking into it. Well, that's true. That might be true. I agree with some of the people that are saying that. So we have a crust that's only so far, right, above ground. But underneath it could be just nothing but liquefaction. And they only had a half an inch of rain out there, which is nothing. But yet you see these massive mudslides of where the ground, it's just becoming unstable. And it continues to go on. Is it a problem? Well, I imagine It probably will, and then you have to remember there's nothing but earthquakes there. And what do earthquakes do? Well, they rattle and shake the earth. And what happens? The water comes to the top, which is called liquefaction of the ground, where above ground it's perfectly dry, but below ground it's water. It's mud. It's like a soup, like a quicksand or something. Yeah, very well possible. And the ground can't handle the water because it's already liquefied underneath and mush, mud, whatever. Possibly. We'll have to see. But if you can get out of the way of these mudslides, it's horrible. They're declaring some kind of evacuation, and I probably would evacuate for now. Plus, you're on a mountain, right? Everybody knows water travels the least resistance, and eventually, water, going down a mountain strips away the earth and leaves trees and stuff that are acceptable to tip over because they no longer have the structure within the soil because the soil's mud. So yeah. So be safe out there. God bless everybody. These are one thing, these are things we should be concentrating on instead of assassins and madmen and stuff like that in our world. We should be more in tune with the earth and uh, space and peace and working together as humans uh, to stay alive. Humanity, that's what they forgot about humanity, about God's creation to keep us alive and safe. And these are the things we should be working on. How do we stop this? Well, there's no really way you can stop it, maybe because water is going to soak. The earth is like a sponge. The ground, the dirt is like a sponge, sucks up water. It's underneath. We don't have all the answers, but I know this. There's a lot of things we could be concentrating in America to make America safer and a better country and stronger. And if that takes, well, we can't build homes there, then we can't build homes there. It's not stable. You're actually costing the rest of America money with insurance because somebody's got to get their money out of it. It hikes up the insurance rates. It 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 does a lot of. Everyone pays for it, even stuff that's going on here in the middle of the United States with disasters, and you know everyone pays for it. Maybe one day people will wake up and see that there are ways we can cut way back, even if we can't build in them places until someone comes up with a better system to build. Then you can't build there. Everyone's Florida sinking. I wouldn't doubt it. It's an island of sand. What does sand do in water? It erodes. It just washes away. Yeah, water table rises. You know, you know, ice melting up north or whatever. The ocean rises. Waves and it's eventually washing it away, sinking. It's just proven fact. Could they have done it different? They could have done it different, but you would have had to build the whole state of Florida or half of it, at least the southern half, on some kind of a concrete floating stabilizing system, and then moved in a bunch of dirt and clay and then built on it. But they didn't do it that way, folks, because at that time they didn't have the tools or the. Do they do not? Yeah, well they can do that if they wanted to, but that costs money. Money we ain't got in America right now. So hunker down. And I imagine the earthquakes are going to continue. We're having tremors out here in the middle of the country on a dormant fault, right? Rattling and shaking out here a little bit. Yeah, These are the things we should be concentrating on: our weather, schools, clean water, clean food, uh, sprinkler systems within the whole community or neighborhoods where someone, my house is on fire, you run out, you hit the button, and a water cannon pops out. I know this is stuff other countries done, but they're using their heads. We ain't. God bless everyone. Let's watch a little bit more of this and we'll end this video. And don't let these people bully you. Voice your opinion. But that's as far as it goes, right?
Of Arizona, near the
Always
Phoenix
protect
area,
yourself.
out towards Tucson, and then even near Las Vegas, Nevada. They had a significant amount of rain from this as well. Top rain totals, if you look at it as a whole, we've got Running Springs, California, Ridgecrest, California, and then Temecula. A lot of this is influenced by the mountain ranges, especially the transverse range, where you have the moisture coming over the mountain. And then as it rises over that mountain slope, it can condense down and squeeze out even more, like you're wringing out a big paper towel. And so that's why the mountainous terrain and some of the valleys associated with it are most at risk for flash flood concerns. We also had a few instances of severe weather because moisture is a component for storms to gain a little extra energy. So in the Palm Desert, we had 62-mile-per-hour wind reports, Imperial 63. We even had a land spout reported, which is a quick version of a tornado, so not as powerful as a full tornado would be. It was a developing thunderstorm near Palmdale, a weak land spout, so EF unknown at this point, and it was confirmed by photos by members of the media. Now, dissipated shortly, pretty common of a land spout, and thankfully no damage has been reported, but it is just something to say, all right, California, this was a significant event for you. You don't see tornadoes every day. Granted, it is a land spout, but very similar. As far as the flood reports, you can see multiple flash flood reports across the region. Mudslides blocking Highway 14, road flooding 6 to 8 inches deep. And you think that they only had about 2 inches in some of these spots, but it equates to up to 6 to 8 inches when you consider how it all flows into the lower lying areas. Right now, that region being overrun with drier air, but we do have this dip in the jet stream and a low pressure system in association with, that's a high, with the low pressure system in association with it. That's going to swing in a little extra moisture by the time we kick off this work week. So we're talking about Monday going into Tuesday, where we could see a little extra rain return. Now, the good news is it's not going to be widespread, and even for Los Angeles and San Diego, it largely looks like a miss for you. What that low is going to do is just help to bring in a little extra moisture to then be condensed down for spots during the monsoonal thunderstorms in the afternoon. So Phoenix, you can tap into a little bit of rain. The max we're expecting to see is really about 1/2 inch to 1 inch. So when you put it into perspective, not too big of a deal for certain spots. But there's that low for you with that deep trough starting to push through. And that's going to be what we track over the next couple of days. But if this low becomes cut off, that means the overall flow of the atmosphere isn't dictating where it goes, so it can linger for multiple days, just creating more of that tropical moisture getting pulled in from portions of the eastern Pacific, where you can see a lot of that deep moisture still existing and getting pulled a little bit further north into the United States. So we'll keep our eyes out on the Southwest, but the one silver lining to this is hopefully it did put a nice dent in the drought, because let me tell you, California certainly needed it, as did Arizona.
Well, there you go. Okay.